one that had that autograph. Al, go between them.
Okay. Need you to clear, please.
Temperature. Mash up. Talk.
Yeah, he's got it.
Talk,
I
brother.
got you. So, yeah, we all, the three of us, gonna sit up here the whole time.
It's not my first time here.
Make sure y'all be safe. Okay. Good morning. I'm Attorney Ben Crump, along with Attorney Paul Napoli and Attorney Craig Femister and Attorney Sharad Azuai. We have the honor of representing a great family, Katty Rodriguez, the mother of Keyon Harrold Jr. and Keyon Harrold Sr., the father of his 14-year-old son who was on that video being assaulted and battered. And I'm honored to have my mentor here, one of the greatest civil rights, human rights advocate that America has produced, based right here in New York, who didn't hesitate to answer the bell when I called him about this matter and so many others, the Reverend Al Sharpton. You know, I flew in from Columbus, Ohio, talking about irony, where Andre Hill, an unarmed black man holding a cell phone, was shot as he walked out of the garage by a white police officer who racially profiled him. And it's interesting, Keyon, that I left fighting for that family to come and join you and Kat in fighting against racial profiling of you and your son being falsely accused based on racial profiling over a cell phone. And so, as I came, Reverend Al, my 8-year-old daughter, who happens to be named Brooklyn, asked me, Daddy, why do you have to leave the day after Christmas? And I told my daughter, unfortunately, police brutality and implicit bias don't seem to take a break, even for Christmas. When you think about Andre Hill was unnecessarily and unjustifiably and senselessly executed by the police a couple of days before Christmas. And then only the day after Christmas, this Soho Karen then falsely accuses this 14-year-old young black child of stealing her cell phone. And we know her cell phone was returned by her Lyft or Uber driver. And so we know it was patently false, this accusation, this rank accusation against this young black boy. And people sometimes say, Reverend Al, well, he didn't get killed, so why is everybody making such a big deal out of this? It is important that we put on the record that the racial profiling that Keyon Harrold documented on that cell phone video, if not held accountable leads to the racial profiling of Andre Hill being killed. It leads to the racial profiling of Ahmaud Arbery for jogging while black being killed. It leads to the racial profiling of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin walking home with a bag of Skittles and a can of iced tea being killed. It leads to the racial profiling of 12-year-old Tamir Rice playing in the playground in Cleveland, Ohio, being killed. It leads to the racial profiling of so many of our brothers and sisters being falsely accused and losing their life and their liberty for decades in prison. I mean, there are thousands of black men in prison because they were racially profiled and falsely accused. So this has larger implications. I mean, it was Emmett Till who was falsely accused and racially profiled that led to him being lynched. And so it is a larger conversation that has a larger impact on society. And if we don't hold this person accountable to show that there's not a double standard in America, that we can't have these two justice systems in America, one for black America and one for white America. Because we know without a shadow of a doubt, Reverend Al, if Keyon, if the roles would have been reversed and you had a black adult tackle a white teenager and falsely accuse that white teenager of taking a cell phone, we know that he would have been arrested for assault and battery. And so we're looking to the NYPD and we're looking to the Manhattan District Attorney to say, are you going to join in the racial profiling, or are you going to do your job and deliver equal justice to send a message not only to this family, not only to New York, but to America and the world, that equal justice under the law for all American citizens, so our children will know that it is unacceptable to racially profile them. And if you do it, that there are going to be consequences. Because wasn't it in at Times Square with Central Park here in New York, where we saw a black man be racially profiled, and thank God that we have video camera. Can you imagine what the narrative would have been if Keyon Harrold had not videoed the incident on his cell phone? Just ponder that for a second, what the narrative would have been. Because we understand that this person already, Attorney Craig, is trying to allege that she was assaulted by Keyon. Now think about that. She is enraged. She's coming at this young man, his son, his cub, who she's never met before in his life, making these wild accusations. I mean, clawing, tackling him. See, you only saw the video that Keyon was able to capture on his cell phone. But we know that the hotel surveillance video has it all.
Yes.
And you see his son being attacked by this woman. You see him being attacked by this woman. They didn't attack her. She attacked them. And all he was doing was trying to protect his cub, as any good parent would have done. And I'm sure you all saw the interview, the only interview that his parents allow him to speak and will allow him to speak, where he said, I don't know what would have happened if my father wasn't there. I don't know what would have happened if my father wasn't there.
Thank you, Lord. Yes, yes.
And so, and it is, I get a little choked up, and I'm sure many people of color get choked up because so often black men get stereotyped as not being there for our children. Well, thank God we have video documentation that we are here for our children and that we love our children just as much as anybody else love their children.
That's right.
You're going to hear from his mother, and his father is going to present to you in a way that he most comfortably communicates with the world. And then you're going to hear from my mentor, Reverend Al Sharpton, who has helped convene this meeting between the Manhattan Attorney General, Cy Vance Jr., after we leave here at this press conference and rally. But before I introduce you to Katty Rodriguez, who you all saw her put her heart on her sleeve, because that was her boy, that was her baby. And we know the bond between a mother and son is probably the strongest of any other dynamic in the world. And you're gonna hear from her as only a mother can. But I will say to all of you out here who are supporting this family, and all of you out across America and across the world who are supporting this family, it matters, because we have to stand united against racial profiling. We have to defeat racial profiling, because our children are dying. Our children are losing their liberty over racial profiling and being falsely accused. The fact that we all standing here in solidarity tells America that we can do better, that we can be a better America, a more just America, an America where George Floyd gets to take a breath without having a knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. A more just America where Breonna Taylor gets to sleep in peace without the police busting open her door and mutilating her body with 6 bullets. A more just America where Ahmaud Arbery gets to jog and run in peace and not be lynched for jogging while black. A more just America where Andre Hill gets to walk out holding a cell phone to engage the police and not be mutilated with multiple bullets and not be given any medical assistance while he's on the ground dying, and there are dozens of police all around. And where Keyon Harrold Jr. at 14 years old can come down off the elevator into the hotel lobby of the Arlo Soho Hotel located here in New York City and not be attacked by a woman accusing him of a crime, and then having to ask his mother, why me, mama? Why me? We can do better, America. We must do better. Now you will hear from Miss Katty Rodriguez, who is not only an incredible musician, but an incredible mother. Miss Rodriguez.
I had to write this down because I'm very emotional and I don't want to go different directions. First and most of all, I want to thank God because this incident could have ended very differently. We have seen this end very differently. I pray for the mothers and fathers that have lost their sons to racial injustice. I cannot begin to imagine how you feel because I know how I feel right now, and I'm overwhelmed and in a lot of pain. So I can't even begin to imagine your daily struggle to fight, even though these injustices happen daily. I am a teacher whose mission for the last 5 years have been building bridges in our communities. I love and care for all of my students, no matter the color of their skin, and they can attest to that. When incidents like this arise in a classroom, I hear everyone's side of the story. I'm an example for that. It breaks my heart that this is happening to our son. This incident could have been avoided in so many ways. The hotel manager, management, and security had plenty of time to de-escalate the situation before the lady had a chance to assault our son. When the manager, Chad Nathan, asked my son for his phone, he empowered that woman to assault my son and is equally to blame for this injustice.
That's right.
Amen.
He chose to try and prove that he was innocent instead of using his hospitality tools and asking our 14-year-old son his side of the story.
Take your time.
And giving him the benefit of doubt and the same respect that we should all get, innocent until proven guilty.
That's right.
Amen.
After the hotel helped the lady retrieve her phone, they did not have a security ask her to wait for the police, which they said they called as per their statement, which you have seen. She was allowed to leave the premises with no repercussions for assaulting our son. If the shoe was on the other foot and this was a black woman
Preach.
or man who assaulted a white child, which I would never condone, do you think she or he would have been allowed to leave the establishment?
No.
Not a million
Do you
years.
think that the police would be asking my son to do a lineup?
Unbelievable.
Even though they have footage, video footage from the hotel, the footage that my son's father took, and a photo of the perpetrator, do you think that they would have let them leave? I don't think they would have.
I don't think they would have either.
I have witnessed my son's father be racially profiled so many times. He's from Ferguson, so y'all already know what happens down there. I've seen him being put in handcuffs because he was mistaken for someone else that was tall and black who committed a crime. I have witnessed them hold him until proven innocent. Isn't it the other way around? Innocent until proven guilty? We are all supposed to have equal rights, but the reality is that we don't. So yes, this is a racial injustice issue.
Yes, it is.
It is.
This narrative has to change. For my son to say, "Mom, why me? Why did this lady and the manager think they could accuse me?" And then after having the race conversation with him again, which I've had many times, then he said, and you've heard him say this, she was probably scared of me and threatened. No 14-year-old boy should be scared and threatened.
That's right.
They shouldn't have to feel scared or feel like they're threatening anybody. I don't care the color of your skin. Look at my color. My son should not have to be subjected to any more trauma. He will not be doing that lineup.
Amen.
Amen.
Especially by the people that have sworn an oath to protect us all. Unfortunately, time and time again, our justice system has proven to protect the rights of brown, has proven not to protect, excuse me, the rights of brown and black people. All that we are asking is for the police to do the right thing.
Tell them, Cap.
Find this woman, which we all have seen, for the DA to do the right thing, to charge this woman with assault of a minor, with assault to my son's father, because she scratched him as he was trying to protect our son. For the hotel, which I'm equally angry at, because hospitality, that's what you do. I've been in hotels all over the world. And you are trained to use those tools.
Preach.
I called the hotel
That's right.
right after it happened, and I gave them a chance to make it right. And they did it.
That's right.
They did it. You know when they made it right? When my tribe, my community,
All right.
That's right.
they went on their site when people they didn't expect spoke up. They didn't know who they were messing with.
That's right.
Amen. Amen.
I want hotels and any establishment to understand that when a black young man or woman goes into their hotel, or old, any age, you treat them with the same respect.
Exactly.
This fight is not only for our son, it's for all of our sons and daughters.
Yes.
All of them.
Tell them.
You got it?
If we were a family that didn't have these connections, because I come from a one-bedroom apartment, welfare, okay? If I was a maid, this story wouldn't have hit the news.
Yeah.
What about those people?
That's right.
Exactly.
What about those people that don't get to get heard? What about them? So I want to thank our tribe and our community.
Yes.
Thank you so much for all of my friends and family. But I want to ask you to please help us demand justice for my son, for our sons and daughters, for Keyon Sr., who we're forgetting that he also got attacked by this woman.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
My family, I'm thankful this is my family. We are all very different and very much the same.
Amen.
We love each other so much, and we're there for him. I just demand justice. That's it. Is it that hard? It's not. But the problem is that we're working for change, and we're fighting every day. So please help us bring justice, not only for my son, but for all of the sons and daughters that do not get their story heard. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kat. And heartfelt. I heard similar emotions come from Botham Jones' mother after he was racially profiled sitting in his apartment eating ice cream. I mean, where can our children be safe from being racially profiled? Right now, I mean, Reverend Al, you've often said we don't tell victims how to grieve. And Keyon Harrold Sr. is going to communicate with you how he know how best to do so, and what he does to try to heal. It's through his ministry and love of music. So I give you a person who I call a hero. I mean, he stood up. He stood up for his son.
I want to say thank you all, everybody, our tribe, the music industry, just everybody, and everybody who saw that video, who saw how it's not supposed to be, how it's not supposed to be. We literally were coming downstairs to have brunch, me and my son. And I asked you all, and I think about this all the time. My brother Emmanuel called me and said, Key, what if you weren't with him? I mean, I'm not a small guy. And literally, you guys saw what happened. I don't have to speak on it. Kat spoke a lot. Attorney Crump spoke a lot. But you all could imagine, because we've seen it happen time and time again. As a musician, as a trumpet player, my whole platform in music has always been about social justice and injustice. Me coming from Ferguson, knowing about Mike Brown, knowing about Trayvon, and thinking about all this stuff, I write music to lament these people. And unfortunately, this could have gone very wrongly. If I had come down after my son, you know, all these things I run back if I had come down after him. And my question to the hotel, this has nothing to do with the person on the video, because she's on the video, everybody sees how not to act, how not to react, and how not to prejudge somebody, and you don't even know them. You know, my son was proven guilty before Chad could have asked. He could have taken the time to simply ask. But no, he wanted to demand that my son give up his property that I bought for him. As a father, this is what we do as a father. This is not even hero stuff. This is stuff that we do. You know, this is what any loving father would do. Any loving father would protect their child at all costs.
Amen.
At all costs. You know,
At all costs.
At all costs.
You know, and an establishment like the Arlo Hotel, which is the brand that it holds, that should never happen. That I walk downstairs and be attacked by somebody. It should never happen. The protocol, I don't know what the protocol was, whatever the bylines of what their protocol is, was not followed, because we were attacked. And they had time. They had so much time to normalize that situation. Security and Chad did nothing. They did nothing. And my son and I, man, my son,
Take your time.
you know,
Take your time. Take your time, Keyon.
the idea of trauma, goes above any charge that could ever be had. I want my son to grow up whole.
That's right.
That's all we want.
Say that.
You know, I come from Ferguson, and this has been my passport. This has been my passport to the world.
That's right.
And I can't even come downstairs in New York City, prime New York City, and just go get brunch without being attacked and wrongfully accused of something. Everybody's heard the term, let me see your papers.
That's right.
Let me see your papers. That's what happened to me. That's what happened to my son. And that needs to stop. Because I'm a whole human. My son's a whole human. And I want him to be a whole man. I want him to have that opportunity. So many of our young brothers haven't had that opportunity to first of all, live and become whole men. We've seen what happens to them. We see and not the fact that we see what happens to them, it's what we don't see. How many people end up in prison forever? How many people end up dead? Because of mistaken identity, quote unquote, because of wrongfully accused by so many people, wrongfully profiled, and this needs to stop.
Yes.
And this is literally a microcosm. If I wasn't who I was, thank God that He's given me the fortitude to do what I do on a high level, and I'm blessed in that way. this wouldn't even be an issue. The hotel played it down. The officers that I spoke to, they played it down.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I posted the video, to show that this injustice, to show that this ridiculous treatment of people needs to stop. It just needs to stop. But you know, I've talked way too long, and we've been talking for the last couple of days. This is what I do. You know, and this is what I do to take care of my family. This is what I do to take care of my son, to put him in positions, to bring him to places where he doesn't have to and shouldn't have to deal with injustice and shouldn't have to deal with being profiled.
Do your thing, brother.
Come on. Play.
And now, the only man who can follow that, Reverend Al Sharpton.
Wow.
When I spoke on yesterday to Attorney Crump, and he asked whether I would reach out to the DA, I told him not only would I reach out, that we would join Keyon and the mother Cat and the tribe to be here today.
That's right.
And I'll tell you why. I've been called by Attorney Crump and others into many situations going to Columbus next week. But what he didn't know is that when I saw this story, I thought about how I was one of those kids whose father never took him anywhere for Christmas. Never had brunch with my father. And for this black man to take his black son, put him in a hotel during a pandemic, and spend Christmas with him, with Kat and him raising them, two award-winning musicians,
Yes.
That's right.
and to be assaulted because of the color of their skin. I wanted to stand with this man and this woman who provided for their son what many sons like me never had, and they're being criminalized for it. The arrogance and audacity of this woman to say she was assaulted. So let me get this right. He checked in a hotel with his son and said, let's go assault the first white woman in the lobby. What would have been the motive
Right.
for him to assault her? She was the one that apparently misplaced her cell phone. She was the one that apparently was looking for a crime. They were looking for lunch.
That's right.
So what would be the basis of an assault? What we will say to the district attorney, who I talked to yesterday, we're going from here there, is if she is saying that she was assaulted, put her in the grand jury
That's right.
and let her face perjury charges. Let her say
Yes,
under
yes.
oath what she's saying
Yes.
in interviews.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Put her in the grand jury
Yeah.
and let her tell her story.
Amen.
Secondly, racial profiling is a crime in New York.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Just like the lady that dealt with an accusation based on race in Central Park
That's right.
has had to face the same kind of situation, this woman must face it.
That's right.
You cannot have justice when you want it.
That's right.
It has to be justice all of the time.
That's it,
So
brother.
we come to stand with this family and this tribe, and we all family now.
Yes.
Y'all gonna expand the tribe. I don't know if y'all let Baptist preachers in, but I'm in the tribe.
You did it, man. Yes. Yes.
Because we gonna be in this to get justice for Keyon represents all of our sons.
Yes, Rev.
There was a time a few years ago we had to fight about those that couldn't shop while black. Now you can't even go to the lobby of the hotel while black.
Come on, Rev.
That we dealt with shopping while black. We're gonna deal with this. We demand full prosecution. We demand if this woman is saying she was assaulted, put her in the grand jury.
That's right.
And let her put her hand on the Bible and take an oath and tell her story. If she won't do that, then we know clearly she knows she's taken an alibi to cover up a crime that was done to Keyon and his son. This man stood up for his son.
Yes, it is.
Let me also say, the Arlo is as culpable or more
That's right.
because you fed into procedures that mean you profile. Here were people that were your patrons.
That's right.
They were the ones registered in the hotel
Right.
that you were supposed to protect, and you were supposed to seek to find out that they were in any way inconvenienced, less known, subject to some false accusation.
That's right.
You immediately took the side of someone else.
Yeah.
I don't know if she was checked in there or not, but they got off the elevator.
That's right. She wasn't even.
They were your guest,
Come on, Rev.
and you allowed them to be assaulted and them to be accused. Not only is the question resonating, suppose if Keyon Sr. hadn't been there, suppose if they hadn't found the cell phone.
Exactly.
Suppose if the Lyft or the Uber hadn't returned the cell phone.
Yeah.
That's right, Rev.
We would be not going to Hogan Street to see the DA. We'd be going to get Keyon Jr. out. So how many young Keyons are at Rikers Island right now?
Right now.
How many young Keyons are in jail right now? That's why we're here.
That's right.
I know some of you say, well, he's all right. It's no big thing. It is a big thing to
That's right,
us.
Rev.
It's a big thing that every time we wake up and look at our children. We have to pray to God that someone doesn't violate their rights or take their life. And that's why we're here. Lastly, we didn't orchestrate this. I had no idea that Keyon was going to play today. And I certainly didn't know he was going to play America the Beautiful. But it reminded me, Attorney Crump, and Attorney Crump is always there. He's the Attorney General of Black America. In effect, we don't have an Attorney General until after the inauguration. He's the Attorney General, period, for me. But a few blocks from here, we suffered a traumatic, as despicable act when the World Trade Centers went down. And I remember the morning after, I was called to go on KISS radio that doesn't exist no more. And they said we're going to synchronize 100 stations around the country. We're going to play America the Beautiful.
Wow.
And they asked me to speak after they played the rendition. Keyon, the rendition they played that morning was America the Beautiful, sung by Ray Charles.
Come on.
And as I sat in that studio, I thought about how Ray, who I knew because I grew up as a surrogate son to James Brown, so I got to meet Ray a few times. And I said, Ray was blind since he was a child. He's singing about America the Beautiful for Spacious Skies, Amber Waves of Grain. He'd never seen Spacious Skies.
That's right, Rev.
He never seen Amber Waves of Grain. He never seen Purple Mountains. But he believed in what he didn't see.
Wow.
As Keyon was playing today, we never seen America the Beautiful.
Come on. Rev.
We never experienced America the Beautiful.
Yes,
But we keep singing it. That's why he chased it with We Shall Overcome.
Yes, Lord.
That if we keep on marching, if we keep standing together, if the tribe will protect its own, we shall overcome and make America the Beautiful for everybody. We can't see it, but we're going to make it happen.
Amen. Amen, Rev. Amen. Amen. Yes, Rev. Yes, Rev.
We'll try to take a few questions, and then we're going to have to go meet with the district attorney. Are there? Yes, ma'am.
I spoke to this woman, and she told me that she first went after a man of a different race and demanded he have to be processed. Then she went to the hotel manager, demanded surveillance videos, and then she went after the Harrold family. What's your feeling about that? And is it possible that she isn't well, freaked out, and not
No,
Well-
no.
I'm not giving credence like that. I'm just saying it's possible.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead, attorney.
But even still, it has to do with the whole.
I will say this, and Attorney Craig Philmeister and Attorney Paul Napoli and Attorney Sharad Asuai and us are working on this matter to gauge those very questions, because we expect, Reverend Al, they're going to try to engage in the intellectual justification of discrimination.
That's right.
That's what they're going to do. We prepared for it when they asked Keyon and Kat to have them come in for a lineup identification when we got video. I mean, we don't have to rely on our memory. We got pictures of the woman.
That's right.
So why are they talking about lineup ID? That would never happen if it was the other way around.
That's right.
Would never happen. So,
Let me say this. That's why I say bring her to the grand jury. Let her go get the man she went to, she said, if he exists. The other part of the story doesn't make sense, is if she went to somebody in the hotel, then why did the hotel back her against Keyon?
Yeah.
If they already knew she went to the man in the hotel wrongly, then why did it become right when it came to a 14-year-old black child?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's so profound when you think about it, because we haven't seen the hotel surveillance video, Rev, but apparently it's all there. And the fact that she accused another man, we believe a minority man, how's that not racial profiling after you made him empty his pockets to prove he's not guilty? I mean, is every person of color in that hotel got to prove they're innocent? It's an assumption of guilt. And so I understand Kat Hart when she says this hotel was complicit.
That's right.
They not only didn't condemn the racial profiling of this woman, but then they participated in the racial profiling, and that is unacceptable. As Reverend Al said, you know, racial profiling is against the law in New York.
That's right.
You can't do that, so maybe we need to have the New York Attorney General start a civil rights probe of this hotel if they're going to let people just be randomly accosted and you have to prove you're innocent.
Thank you. Come on, Rev.
Y'all want to say anything about that?
I would like to say something.
Hold on.
Why is it that when it's a black person, they're thug, but when it's a white person, it's mentally ill?
Oh! Yeah.
Why? Why? And I'm not saying that she could have been mentally ill. That's not what I'm saying. She could have. But why is that? Why are we assuming that already? We don't know that.
Yeah.
Why are we assuming that?
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Just the fact that you have to go to the district attorney rather than just
I think that is one of the reasons why we do what we do. And that is why we have people like Ben Crump and his associates, because we shouldn't have to do this.
Amen.
To be standing out here in freezing weather and for this mother and father to have to interrupt. Let me tell you something. These are both award-winning musicians.
That's right.
There are people in the industry that would tell them you don't need to do this. It could hurt your careers. They put their child first,
That's right, Rev.
which is an example. And they ought to be saluted for that. I know the music industry. It's not a good thing commercially to stand up for something like social justice. But that's who he is.
That's right.
That's who she is.
That's right.
And they would rather take whatever commercial consequences to have justice for their son. And if the criminal justice system was operating right, they wouldn't have had to done it.
Amen.
My Lord.
My God.
And I would say, okay, yeah, we want everybody to sign the petition. Thank you for that. But before we get to that, I just want to acknowledge the fact that Reverend Al helped make this meeting happen. You know, we had to call to get this meeting, and he had to use his resources and relations. So that says a lot. What Kat said, what about the voiceless, the disenfranchised, and the marginalized black and brown people? I mean, who stands up for them? And the fact, Reverend Al, as you know, we have to fight first in the court of public opinion
Yeah.
for a chance to get into the court of law. And it's no guarantee.
That's right.
Eric Gardner won in the court of public opinion right here in New York City. But to this day, his family still never got to have that day in court.
Right. That's right.
And so we have to fight hard for simple justice.
Simple
What
justice.
other Americans take for granted,
Simple justice.
we have to fight for.
That's right.
And that's why we have this petition that we're asking everybody who are standing against the enemies of equality and standing against racial profiling to sign that petition so Kat and Keyon won't be by themselves.
Right.
And as Reverend Hale said, the tribe gonna keep getting bigger.
That's right.
We're gonna make it bigger.
Yes.
Yeah, we're trying to get to 100,000 signatures as a show of solidarity,
That's right.
as a united front against racial profiling. See, they might try to say, oh, that's just Reverend Al and the parents and them, and try to marginalize even us. But we need to see black, white, Hispanic, Asian, men, women, everybody coming together to say, we're better than this, America. We can be better than this, y'all. I mean, our children, Kat should not have to explain to her son why this white woman can attack him and it be okay. It's not okay. I mean, can you imagine what that young man is going through, what he's trying to process? Like, is this reality? Is this how life gonna be? And his father is so ironic. His father is from Ferguson.
Come on.
And Reverend Al, you know, when Michael Brown's mother and father called us, and y'all saw that Justice report, how they stopped all these black people on a daily basis. In fact,
Listen,
can you share what you told me about police?
Oh man,
I mean,
I mean, come on. Growing up there, I don't really know, and this is unfortunate to say. Growing up where I grew up, it was a regular occurrence to be stopped just because it was black people in the car. And I mean, the idea of the show Cops, you can literally be going 20, you can literally be going, exactly, who's from Ferguson? Oh, come on. Come on, it's my little cousin right here.
okay.
Come on, you can be going 23 and a 20 and go to jail. You know what I'm saying? And everybody be put on the sidewalk like you've killed somebody in handcuffs, the whole nine. And they want to know again, let me see your papers. And you ain't even driving. You know, so this happened all the time. This is not nothing new to me. That's the reason why I told him my son doesn't have to show you his phone, not the manager. You don't have any authority over my son. You're doing a job. You're supposed to be doing a service. That's where Chad failed. That's where he didn't follow
Chad
protocols.
is the manager.
You know, that's where he failed. And he had all opportunity. When we got off that elevator, there was somebody that she was shaking down. And she saw my son and she locked on him like he was a piece of bread in front of a bull. That's what that looked like. And I said, it was so crazy to me, I thought it was a joke at first. That's the reason why I took out my cell phone, because I couldn't believe this was happening. She looked at, and everybody's seen the video, so I don't have to continually go over it. But it shouldn't happen like that.
Yeah. And it was so deep. The one thing he said, and we take just one or two more questions, then we have to go. But Keyon told me, Kat, it was so deep. He said one time when he was here in New York or something, and the police pulled him over, the person was protesting and everything. He said in Ferguson, he didn't even know you can protest that because the police stopped them so much as black men and made them show their papers as if we live in a third world country. This is America. We shouldn't have to prove our legitimacy, that we're not guilty of some accusation in your mind. That's what this is about. Yes, sir.
Can you describe exactly the circumstances when, under which police had asked this young man to be part of a lineup?
Oh, that was yesterday, last night. They called me last night.
I'm sorry, can you say it with the mic?
I'm sorry, last night they called me and told me that, you know, between 2 and 3 today that my son and I separately would have to identify this person.
Oh, so he wouldn't appear in a lineup. They would, I'm not sure, they would
No,
identify.
they were going to have them identify people out of a lineup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so it's asinine to us because why are we going to have to look at their memory, rely on their memory, when we can look at the pictures, the freeze frames from the video, and the hotel told them who the person was. Remember, the phone was returned to the hotel.
That's right.
So they know who the person is. Why are we playing this game?
Protecting her by not releasing her name.
Yeah.
That's another
Other
part.
women harassed online because they resemble.
Right.
That's a
Well, she did an interview with you.
yeah.
You did an interview with her, right? You didn't go to a lineup to interview her, did you? All right.
Right.
They know who she is. All right, last question.
Did you find out the woman's occupation, what she did? Because with that kind of conduct, you didn't know what her occupation was.
We
A woman by herself in a hotel raises eyebrows.
We don't know that. Hopefully hey, last, no. You're gonna have the last question. All I will say is this here. Hopefully the police report will be released because we know if the roles were reversed, nobody would be trying to protect Keyon's identity.
That's right.
They will release that report
Right away.
right away. Last question, because you had your hand up for so long.
NYPD said this incident is not being investigated as a biased incident. How would you respond to that?
Wait till after our meeting with the DA.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
You want to say on the mic?
Rev, you lead the way. Can you give them where they can find the petition?
The petition. Yeah, it go to bencrump.com or go to @AttorneyCrump on Instagram. Okay.
Ben, take care, man.
Okay, bro. Hey, yeah, we going this way. Hey,
I'll be there.